Welcome to Bennett Steel Incorporated. My name is the Safety Training Assistant, and I'll be guiding you through your comprehensive safety orientation today. This training will take approximately 1 hour, and I ask that you give it your full attention. The information we're covering today could save your life or the life of a coworker. Bennett Steel Incorporated was established in 1980 and has built a solid reputation specializing in fabrication, steel erection, and crane rentals. Our long-standing reputation for excellence stems from our unwavering dedication to providing quality service and maximum productivity while adhering to stringent safety standards. It is Bennett Steel Incorporated's goal to achieve our work without any injuries. At Bennett Steel, safety is our top priority. We must work together to eliminate accidents. Your continued productivity and craftsmanship depend on your safety and health. You need to work as hard at accident prevention as you do at your craft. Safe work behavior is a required part of your job description. You are the one who knows if you are not using safety gear or taking unnecessary chances to get your work done. You do have time to plan the best way to get the job done safely. You are responsible for your safety and for the safety of those working around you, just as they are responsible for their safety and the safety of all employees around them. Bennett Steel Incorporated wants each employee to leave the worksite each day, injury-free. All employees are required to follow all local, state, and federal safety regulations. You are also required to follow any additional safety requirements that are part of Bennett Steel Incorporated policy that go beyond local, state, and federal safety regulations. Lack of knowledge of safety regulations and safe procedures is not an excuse to violate those regulations or requirements. When in doubt as to safety, ask before you act. Proper information and training will be provided. Our drug testing procedures are designed to protect you, your colleagues, and our operations. All employees are required to comply with these testing protocols. Should any test result indicate substance abuse, it is your responsibility to report this immediately to your union representative. Your foreman or safety personnel will instruct you on the proper reporting procedures and next steps. It is important to understand that your union representative is there to support you through this process. If you have questions or concerns about the testing procedure or the results, do not hesitate to reach out to them or your safety officer. Additionally, we work with various contractors who may require different testing procedures than our standard protocol. If a contractor specifies an alternative testing procedure, you must comply with their requirements. Your foreman will inform you of any contractor-specific testing needs before you begin work on their project. Bennett Steel is dedicated to creating a workplace where everyone goes home safely. By following our drug testing policies and procedures, you contribute to this mission. Thank you for your commitment to safety and for helping us maintain the highest standards at Bennett Steel Incorporated. Click Safety Online Training for Ironworkers. Before starting work, you are required to complete several online training courses through Click Safety. These include OSHA 10, ladder safety, motorized mobile platforms, and fall protection. All of these must be finished prior to beginning any work on site. Here's how to get started. First, log in to the SMDS using your book number and password. Once you're logged in, click on View Click Safety Training Courses. If you're using an Apple device, make sure to review the Apple device guidelines before proceeding. From there, simply click on the training course you'd like to complete from the course menu. The required courses are OSHA 10 or 30, motorized mobile platforms, ladder safety, and fall protection. Make sure all 4 are completed before reporting to work. Now from the owner. What is Bennett Steel?
My name is David R. Bennett. If anybody knows me, calls me Dave. I've been in the ironworking business. I started work when I was 12 years old, doing boats on a job in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Bennett Steel is now in its 45th year. My dad was in business in Tulsa back in the 60s and 70s. And I've got to know quite a few people in that time. The company started out as steel design and service, and we did work up at Liberty Glass here in Spalpa. How I got started in the business, I was traveling around the United States building furnaces for a company out of Pennsylvania. Met a guy in Warner Robins, Georgia, became friends. He was the plant manager. But lo and behold, about 4 years later, he became the plant manager at Liberty Glass. He calls me, and I was in Warner Robins working, and he wanted me to come by and see him. They was getting ready to do a major construction job up there. Of course, I was just working by the hour then. and which I told him, I said, I got 3 kids at home, or 2 kids at home at that time, and a pregnant wife, and I didn't have money to start a business. Liberty Glass actually advanced me enough money to get started. I worked it off for them. But then over the years, my experience with working for my dad brought me around to go out and meet some people we had worked for before while he was in business, and started bidding a few jobs off and on, and started getting a little more work, and bought my first crane about 1982, and from there we just kept getting bigger and getting bigger cranes and doing more work, and I'm a very fortunate man. I'm very fortunate. I know you have to put a little effort into it, but I've been very, very fortunate.
Now let's begin with our first critical safety topic. Aerial boom lifts, sometimes called aerial work platforms or cherry pickers, are essential tools on our job sites. They allow us to access elevated work areas safely and efficiently. However, they also present serious hazards if not operated correctly. Tip-overs, falls from the platform, electrocutions, and collisions are all real risks. First and foremost, no employee may operate any aerial boom lift unless they have had training on its safe operation and are certified to operate it. Untrained employees may operate equipment under the direct supervision of a qualified operator for training purposes only, but they must have that direct supervision at all times. Before you operate any aerial boom lift, you must perform a pre-operation inspection. This is not optional. Walk around the equipment. Check for any damage to the structure, the platform, the railings, the controls, the hydraulic lines, and the tires or tracks. Check fluid levels, hydraulic fluid, fuel, and engine oil. Test all controls to ensure they function properly. Check that all safety devices, such as the tilt alarm and the emergency stop, are working. If you find any defects or malfunctions, tag the equipment out of service and report it to your supervisor immediately. Do not operate defective equipment. When setting up the aerial boom lift, make sure you are on stable, level ground. Soft soil, slopes, holes, and uneven surfaces can cause the lift to tip over. If you are working on a slope, position the lift according to the manufacturer's instructions. Use outriggers if the equipment is so equipped, and make sure they are fully extended and properly set. Never exceed the slope rating specified by the manufacturer. Be aware of overhead hazards, especially power lines. Electrocution is one of the leading causes of death involving aerial lifts. Maintain a safe distance from power lines, at least 10 feet for lines rated up to 50 kilovolts and more for higher voltages. Assume all power lines are energized unless you have confirmed otherwise with the utility company. Even if you think a line is de-energized, treat it as live. Before you elevate the platform, make sure the area around and below you is clear of personnel and obstacles. Use your horn or alarm to alert others that you are about to move. Look in all directions before raising, lowering, or moving the boom. Once you are in the platform and elevated, always maintain 3 points of contact with the platform floor or railings. Do not climb on the railings or attempt to extend your reach beyond the platform. Never stand on the rails or tow boards of aerial lifts. We realize there may be times when the lift will not extend high enough to reach the work. In those circumstances, the following shall be adhered to. First, the supervisor should be informed, and alternate methods of reaching the work should be researched and used. If no alternate method is found, then the safety department should be consulted prior to continuing work. Failure to comply with this requirement is an automatic one-day unpaid suspension. You must use fall protection when working in an aerial boom lift. Small self-retracting lifelines, SRLs, are required to be used when employees are in or operating any boom lift. Attach your SRL to the designated anchorage point in the platform, not to an adjacent structure. Your body harness must be worn and connected at all times when you are in the platform. Even though the platform has guardrails, you can still be ejected from the platform in a tip-over or collision, and the SRL is there to keep you in the platform. Never override or disable safety devices. The platform capacity limit includes the weight of all personnel, tools, and materials. Do not exceed the manufacturer's rated capacity. Overloading can cause the lift to become unstable or the boom to fail. When operating the boom, make smooth, controlled movements. Rapid or jerky movements can cause the lift to become unstable. Be aware of your swing radius and make sure you will not strike anything as you rotate the boom. Watch for pinch points and crash hazards between the boom and structures. Wind can significantly affect the stability of an aerial lift, especially when the boom is extended. Know the wind speed limitations for the equipment you are operating, and do not operate in winds that exceed those limits. If winds pick up while you are elevated, lower the boom and exit the lift until conditions improve. When you are finished with your work, lower the boom completely, turn off the engine, and set the parking brake. If you are leaving the lift unattended, remove the key and store it in a secure location so unauthorized personnel cannot operate the equipment. The area around where aerial lifts are being operated should be barricaded to protect against unauthorized entry. Use red rope and signage to mark the exclusion zone. Other trades should be instructed to contact the responsible person prior to accessing the area. Unauthorized personnel should be removed from the area until access is granted by the superintendent, foreman, or safety personnel. Always follow the manufacturer's operating manual. Different models of aerial lifts have different controls, capacities, and limitations. If you are unfamiliar with a particular model, get training on that model before you operate it. Remember, aerial boom lifts are powerful tools that give us access to heights we could not otherwise safely reach, but they demand respect and proper operation. Carelessness or shortcuts can lead to catastrophic results. Operate them correctly every single time. Bennett Steel Weather Safety Policy. At Bennett Steel Incorporated, the safety of our employees during severe weather is a top priority. Foremen and superintendents are responsible for continuously monitoring weather conditions and ensuring that all employees are protected during any severe weather event. Staying ahead of the storm. The first line of defense is awareness. We strongly recommend that all employees and supervisors download the WeatherBug app on their iPhone or iPad. This app includes a feature called the Spark, which gives you a more accurate real-time distance of lightning activity in your area. You can contact your department's safety manager for more information on how to use the app. In addition to the app, keep a close eye on radar, current weather warnings for your location, and watch for rapidly building or darkening clouds. The goal is simple: stay alert, stay ahead of the storm, and make sure all materials are secured before severe weather arrives. The lightning distance rule. If lightning is determined to be within 10 miles of your location, all outdoor work must be suspended immediately, and every employee must take shelter. If you notice lightning before your foreman or superintendent is aware of it, contact them right away so the appropriate safety precautions can be taken. Remember, if you can hear thunder, lightning is already close enough to strike you. Count the seconds between a lightning flash and the thunder you hear. Each second represents roughly 1 mile of distance. Don't wait until the storm is on top of you. Act early. Where to take shelter. During a thunderstorm, no place outside is truly safe. Your best option is to immediately stop what you're doing and seek shelter in a substantial, enclosed building. If no building is available, a BSI company truck can be used as a last resort. Once inside, stay away from windows and anything that can conduct electricity. Indoor work precautions. Even for indoor activities, all work should stop until the storm has fully moved out of the area for at least 30 minutes or longer. Unless the building is properly grounded and fully enclosed, the superintendent or foreman will make the final call on when it is safe to resume work. Equipment and vehicles during a storm. During any storm, stay off of and away from anything tall or elevated. This includes rooftops, scaffolding, utility poles, ladders, trees, and large equipment such as bulldozers, cranes, backhoes, track loaders, and carts. Do not touch any materials or surfaces that can conduct electricity, including metal scaffolding, metal equipment, utility lines, water pipes, or plumbing. If you are near any area containing explosives or flammable materials, such as fuel cans, gas cylinders, or fuel tanks, leave that area immediately. Snow and ice conditions. Cold weather brings its own serious set of hazards. If the temperature is at or below 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is not forecast to rise above 21 degrees, we will not be working outdoors. Wind chill and precipitation, including snow, ice, and sleet, will also be factored into that decision, as these conditions can make an already dangerous situation significantly worse. Before any cold weather workday, foremen should check road conditions to and from the job site. If there are frozen surfaces or slip hazards present, these must be addressed on a case-by-case basis with the safety director and field operations manager. Additionally, check for snow and ice buildup on decking, walkways, and crane booms, as these create serious struck-by hazards. Foremen, please take the time each afternoon to assess the next day's forecast. Do not put your employees on the road or on a job site if conditions are not safe. If the temperature is above 21 degrees, but still below freezing, there are additional steps to follow. Check all surfaces for hazardous ice and request ice melt if needed. We have had injuries in the past from this exact scenario, so please take it seriously. Make sure everyone has the proper PPE to stay warm and allow for frequent breaks in a warm area. Employees should also be drinking plenty of water, even in cold weather, as dehydration is still a risk. Watch closely for signs of cold stress in yourself and your fellow workers. These signs include redness of the skin, tingling, pain, numbness, swelling, leg cramps, blisters, slurred speech, and fatigue. If any of these symptoms are observed, they must be reported immediately. Ultimately, it is the responsibility of every foreman to assess their job site conditions and communicate directly with the safety director and field operations manager if temperatures or site conditions are too dangerous to work safely. All weather-related communications will also be shared through the company WhatsApp channel, so make sure you are connected and checking for updates. Stay safe, stay aware, and never hesitate to speak up when conditions put people at risk. Fall protection is not just a regulation. It is a life-saving system that stands between you and serious injury or death. Falls are the leading cause of death in the construction industry, accounting for more than 1/3 of all construction fatalities. At BSI, we take fall protection extremely seriously. As I mentioned, BSI requires all employees to use fall arrest equipment properly when working at elevations 6 feet or more above a lower level. If you are not tied off or are improperly tied off, you will be immediately terminated. This is non-negotiable. When you are laying decking above 6 feet, you must be tied off 100% of the time. There are no exceptions. Let's talk about the components of a proper fall protection system. A complete personal fall arrest system consists of 3 main components: the anchorage, the body harness, and the connector, which is typically a lanyard or a self-retracting lifeline. Your anchorage point must be capable of supporting at least 5,000 pounds per person attached, or it must be designed, installed, and used under the supervision of a qualified person as part of a complete fall arrest system that maintains a safety factor of at least 2. The anchorage should be independent of the platform or surface you are working on. Never assume a point is adequate for anchorage without verification. Your full body harness must fit properly. A harness that is too loose or too tight can fail to arrest your fall properly and can cause serious injury even if it stops your fall. The dorsal D-ring, that's the D-ring on your back between your shoulder blades, should be positioned correctly. This is where your lanyard or self-retracting lifeline will connect. Make sure all straps are properly adjusted and that buckles are secure. Your connector, whether it's a lanyard, a self-retracting lifeline, or another approved device, must be attached to your harness and to your anchorage point at all times when you are 6 feet or more above a lower level. Self-retracting lifelines, or SRLs, are excellent because they allow you freedom of movement while automatically locking in the event of a fall. Small SRLs are required to be used when employees are in or operating any boom lift. Inspect your fall protection equipment before every use. Look for cuts, tears, abrasions, mold, mildew, or any deterioration in your harness webbing. Check that all metal components are free from cracks, sharp edges, or corrosion. Check that D-rings move freely and that buckles function properly. If you find any damage or defect, take that equipment out of service immediately and report it to your supervisor. Do not attempt to repair fall protection equipment yourself. You are required to inspect any fall protection before use and to report and remove any defective equipment from service. If equipment is defective, tag it as unusable and give it to your supervisor so it can be properly disposed of and not accidentally put back into service. Never tie off to unstable or inappropriate anchor points. Never tie off to railings that are not specifically rated for fall arrest. Never tie off to piping, conduit, or other objects that could break or pull loose. Your life depends on the integrity of that anchor point. Understand your fall clearance. This is critical. If you fall, your fall arrest system needs enough clearance below you to stop your fall before you hit a lower level or obstruction. Factors that affect fall clearance include the length of your lanyard, the deceleration distance of your shock absorber, your height, and any sag in your anchorage or lifeline. In general, you need at least 18.5 feet of clearance below your working level when using a 6-foot shock-absorbing lanyard. With a self-retracting lifeline, you need much less clearance, often just a few feet, which is one reason SRLs are preferred in many situations. Free fall distance must be minimized. OSHA requires that free fall distance be limited to 6 feet. Some fall arrest systems and manufacturer specifications require even less. A shorter free fall means less force on your body when the system arrests your fall. Positioning device systems, such as body belts used in positioning work, are different from fall arrest systems. Positioning devices are used to support you while you work with both hands free, but they are not designed to arrest a free fall. If you use a positioning device, you must also use a separate fall arrest system as backup protection. All fall arrest equipment must meet ANSI 359 standards. This is the American National Standards Institute standard for fall protection. Equipment that meets this standard has been tested and certified to protect you in a fall. Never use equipment that does not meet this standard. If you choose to bring your own personally owned safety equipment to work, you are welcome to do so, provided the equipment meets or exceeds applicable standards. However, if your personal equipment becomes defective and must be taken out of service, Bennett Steel will replace it with the standard equipment we normally purchase, not necessarily with the same brand or cost level of your personal equipment. For example, if you bring a $300 harness and it becomes defective, we will replace it with an approved harness of our choice, which may not be a $300 harness. You do have the option of paying the difference between our cost and what you choose, and that amount will be deducted from your paycheck. Training is essential. You must be trained in the proper use, inspection, and limitations of the fall protection equipment you use. If you have not been trained or if you are unsure about any aspect of your fall protection system, stop and ask your supervisor before proceeding. Remember, tying off is not just about following rules. It's about making sure you go home to your family every single day. Falls happen in an instant. You might think you're being careful, that you're only going to be in an elevated position for a minute, that tying off takes too much time. But that one moment of inattention, that one misstep, that one unexpected event can end your life or change it forever. Tie off every single time, 100% of the time. Your life is worth it. Forklifts, also called powered industrial trucks, are used extensively on our job sites to move materials and equipment. They are powerful machines that can lift thousands of pounds and travel at significant speeds. They are also involved in a high number of serious injuries and fatalities in the workplace every year. Crush injuries, tip-overs, falls, and struck-by incidents are all common forklift hazards. No employee may operate a forklift unless they have had training on its safe operation and are certified to operate that type of forklift. OSHA requires forklift operators to be trained and evaluated on the specific type of forklift they will operate. Untrained employees may operate forklifts under the direct supervision of a qualified operator for training purposes only. Before you operate a forklift, conduct a pre-operation inspection. This must be done every day at the start of every shift. Check the tires for damage and proper inflation. Check the forks for cracks or bends. Check the overhead guard and load backrest. Test the brakes, steering, horn, lights, and backup alarm. Check fluid levels. Check the hydraulic system for leaks. If the forklift is propane-powered, check the tank and connections. If it's battery-powered, check the battery charge and connections. If you find any defects, tag the forklift out of service and report it immediately. Always wear your seatbelt when operating a forklift. In a tip-over, the seatbelt keeps you in the protected area under the overhead guard. Many forklift fatalities occur when operators try to jump from a tipping forklift and are crushed by the overhead guard or the forklift itself. If the forklift begins to tip, stay in the seat, brace yourself, and lean away from the direction of the tip. Know the capacity of the forklift you are operating. The load capacity is listed on the data plate and is based on the load center, typically 24 inches from the face of the forks. If your load center of gravity is farther out, the capacity is reduced. Never exceed the rated capacity. Overloading can cause the forklift to tip forward. When picking up a load, approach it squarely. Position the forks as wide as possible under the load. Insert the forks fully under the load. Tilt the mast back slightly to stabilize the load. Then lift the load just high enough to clear the ground, typically 4 to 6 inches. Carrying a load too high raises the center of gravity and makes the forklift unstable. Travel with the load low and tilted back. Look in the direction of travel. If the load obstructs your view, travel in reverse. Use your horn at intersections and when approaching blind corners or doorways. When traveling on a grade or ramp, keep the load on the uphill side. If you're going uphill, drive forward with the load in front. If you're going downhill, drive in reverse with the load in front. This keeps the load stable and prevents the forklift from tipping. Never allow passengers on the forklift unless it is equipped with a seat for a passenger. Never allow anyone to stand or walk under elevated forks, even if the forks are empty. A hydraulic failure or operator error could cause the forks to drop suddenly. When setting a load down, approach the placement area squarely, level the forks, lower the load gently, tilt the forks forward slightly to release the load, then back the forklift away before lowering the forks fully. When you are finished operating the forklift, park it in a designated area. Lower the forks fully to the ground, put the controls in neutral, set the parking brake. Turn off the engine and remove the key. If you park on an incline, chock the wheels. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Watch for pedestrians, other equipment, low overhead clearances, floor obstructions, and uneven surfaces. Bridges, dockboards, and ramps must be strong enough to support the combined weight of the forklift and the load. Never drive a forklift up to someone standing in front of a fixed object. The person could be crushed between the forklift and the object. Forklifts can create carbon monoxide if they are internal combustion powered. Never operate a gas, diesel, or propane forklift in an enclosed area without adequate ventilation. Carbon monoxide is odorless and can cause death. Refuel or recharge forklifts in designated areas only. When refueling, turn off the engine. When changing propane tanks, do so in a well-ventilated area. away from ignition sources. When charging batteries, do so in a designated charging area with proper ventilation, eye wash, and fire extinguishing equipment. Do not use your forklift for purposes other than lifting and transporting materials. Do not use the forks to push loads. Do not use the forklift to raise personnel unless it is equipped with a properly designed and secured work platform. The area where forklifts are operating should be barricaded to protect pedestrians. Use signage, cones, or barriers to keep unauthorized personnel away from the travel path and loading areas. Forklifts are powerful and efficient, but they are also dangerous when operated improperly. Respect the machine, follow all operating procedures, and stay alert. Your life and the lives of those around you depend on it.
My name is Matt Bennett, president of Bennett Steel. I've been around and involved with the company for over a couple decades now. Started out as a kid on the slabs, putting bolts together for the guys. Then ended up getting into some shop experiences, fitting, welding. After that, got into some iron working for a little bit, estimating, project management. I mean, the people are everything. I mean, our facilities, our equipment, they don't ultimately build the steel, the people do. Without them, we're not a company. The company succeeds because the people show up and do their work, and that's what ultimately makes us successful. A lot of my job is behind the scenes, supporting the team, making some tough decisions, solving problems so others can be successful. The biggest vision is also to be known for more than just the projects we do. I mean, our integrity matters, our safety culture. I mean, is everybody going home safely every day? And ultimately the way we treat people. But one that kind of really sticks out in my mind is a building over on 81st and Mingo. It's not our biggest building we've ever done, but it is a building that was estimated by myself, project management by myself, and I put a lot of time and energy to make sure that project went up well. I mean, work ethic for employees is very critical. I mean, work ethic drives quality, safety, and trust. I mean, when people take ownership of their work, I mean, everything else around you improves. Really, a good day is a safe day. Everybody goes home safe. Everybody goes home with all their fingers and toes and all their appendages. But really, a good day is when problems are solved, progress is made, and people and the workers can go home proud of what they've done, what they accomplished that day. I mean, safety makes all the difference. There's nothing we do as a company that's more important than our employee safety. None of our projects are worth it if someone goes home injured. There's nothing more important than all the employees going home safe. I mean, it goes from the office personnel to maybe slipping and falling on ice getting in here, or the guys walking the beams falling off. I mean, it doesn't matter. I care for each and every one of them. So there's different safety factors that everybody has to watch out for, but more so in the field and in the shops than obviously in the office. But we still have safety measures that we do here internally that need to be complied with.
I'm J.C. Bacon, the safety director. I've been with Bennett Steel for going on 16 years, and I've been in the safety role for approximately 12. Of that, I've spent 5 years as the director, other times just in different departments. So mainly with fabrication and then with cranes for a long period of time, and now I'm over all the divisions that include the grading company, Bennett Steel Fabrication, Bennett Steel Inc., your ironworkers, your operators, and all of our shop laborers. Most of the time you'll find me, if I'm in the shop, I'm with the guys walking around, or if I'm out in the field, I'm doing a job audit, or could be there for an OSHA compliance inspection, or I'm just a phone call away, either way. I don't think people realize with our role that we aren't just here to enforce rules, we're also problem solvers. We're here to help you and make your job easier and safer, and so you do get home to your family every day. Emphasizing safety on all the job sites is critical. That's how we get our reputation. Production and safety go hand in hand, so if you don't emphasize on the safety portion of it, then it shows less in production. When we get new hires in, I like to see them encouraged, wanting to get in and learn our safety culture, learning about what training is required to get the job done safely, and how they can help in promoting safety within the company. So a safe day in the fabrication shop is seeing everybody do their overhead crane inspections, checking the rigging to make sure that the throat latches are there properly. There's a lot of inspections that gotta be done on a day-to-day basis. Your overhead cranes, your rigging, your forklifts, checking your machines for your guards. In the field, it's a little bit different. There's a lot bigger pieces of equipment, such as the crane operators. They have to inspect their cranes, and the iron workers inspect the rigging because they're the ones that's shaking out the material. PPE, there is a difference on that because, of course, they've all got to have their hard hats, and they also got to inspect all their fall protection. So any aspect of the job that they use, they got to check everything to make sure it's safe to use so that they can go home every day. Safety systems are important because they play a critical role in preventing accidents from happening. The employees following them, it takes planning, such as doing a proper JHA, job hazard analysis. You plan your work according to the step to prevent the hazards, and that's what connects to the controls. I care about safety because whenever I first started my career path, I was actually going into nursing school, and I would see a lot of injured workers come through the ER. So it kind of led to a passion that, maybe construction might be for me. I mean, my dad was a union crane operator for probably 10 years at the point, and I just didn't ever want to see anybody get hurt. I mean, some of these injuries can cause fatalities, and if there is one thing that I can do to help prevent that from happening, I'm going to figure it out. Training is a critical aspect to having a safe company. Whenever you get audited by the OSHA compliance officer, the first thing that they're going to ask you is for those employee training records. And if you can't provide it, then it's negligence on the company's part. Not only that, you want to make sure that they're trained to operate the equipment properly so they can not get hurt, or that they've read the manual to eliminate the risks and know the hazards it is with whatever they're dealing with. Participation goes a long way with employees. We can provide them all the training, but until they put the training to use, it isn't effective. Training on safety systems here can be a variety of things. It can be hands-on on the computer. We could set up a mock-up outside and have hands-on training and everybody gets involved. Or it could be a test, a quiz. It just depends on what fits for the type of training that's being conducted. Unsafe environments can lead to accidents happening, and sometimes things you don't even expect, such as an overflowing trash can can cause a fire and somebody can get burned. The repercussions to an unsafe field site can be slips, trips, and falls, housekeeping issues, weather conditions, be high winds, lightning, tornadoes, snow. Those can all play a big hazard on job sites. A safe day for a crane operator looks like they start out by starting their equipment up and doing their daily inspection. They have a 27-point inspection that they must complete. Then they gotta make sure the rigger is certified, that their credentials are up to date, inspecting all of their rigging, making sure the fire extinguisher is completed every 30 days. And then it's to get with the customer and find out what they're going to be picking for the day, or with the foreman from the Bennett crew. Getting the size, the weights, ensuring that they have all the proper things in line to get set up, anywhere from ground conditions to the size of the rigging that they may need, and a certified signal rigger.
David Morgan, I'm a field safety man. I've been an iron worker for, this is going on year 36, and I've probably been in safety for about 8 years. They don't really understand the price of safety, if you want, you know what I mean? Not just me, but everything we do to keep them safe. Do it the correct way, don't get hurt. We'll expect the basics, gloves, glasses, high vis. Start with the basics, and then whatever your job is, get the safety equipment you need to do that job. Safe day to me is you get up, you go work, and nobody's hurt. Everybody did the right thing. Inspections, everything. Just a regular day, right? PPE's the first line of defense, right? You got glasses to keep stuff out of your eyes, Gloves keep your hands from getting scratched up or cut. High vis so you don't get run over. People see you. That's the first line. Start off safety talk in the morning. How are you going to do it? You have steps. We have steps you go through.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you do in the morning, right? Have a morning meeting, talk about what you're doing, and go through your JHA, what the hazards are, what you're fixing, how you can eliminate those hazards. I'm friends with everybody out there. Want everybody to be safe, and like I say, enjoy everybody I work with. Don't want anybody hurt. Myself, I've been around where I'd say 4 people have failed back before we had tie-off systems. Most of them were messed up, you know, it messes you up. So that's the most. When I'm out in the field, that's my number one pet peeve, is to make sure you're tied off. It's going to be possible injury. You're going to get complaints from the general contractor you work for. So I always tell everybody, just cover your butt. Make sure you don't get in trouble, do the right thing.
Hazard communication, often called HAZCOM or Right to Know, is an OSHA standard designed to ensure that you are informed about the chemical hazards you may encounter on the job site and how to protect yourself from those hazards. Chemicals can cause burns, poisoning, fires, explosions, and long-term health effects, such as cancer. You have a right to know what chemicals you are working with and how to use them safely. Bennett Steel maintains safety data sheets, or SDSs, in several locations for review and use on our job sites. Safety data sheets provide detailed information about each chemical, including its hazards, safe handling procedures, first aid measures, and emergency response information. SDSs are always available in hard copy format, either in the supervisor's vehicle or in their office or Connects. They are also available in digital format on the supervisor's iPad. Depending on the size of the job, the general contractor will have either a digital or hard copy available in their office as well. If a chemical is introduced to the job site that is not on the list, the supervisor has internet access through their iPad or phone to look it up and obtain the SDS. Every chemical container on the job site must be labeled with the identity of the chemical and the appropriate hazard warnings. Do not use chemicals from unlabeled containers. If a label is missing or damaged, notify your supervisor immediately. Before you use any chemical product, read the label and review the SDS. The SDS is organized into 16 sections that provide comprehensive information. Section 1 identifies the chemical and the manufacturer. Section 2 lists the hazards, including health hazards, physical hazards such as flammability, and environmental hazards. Section 3 lists the ingredients. Section 4 provides first aid measures. Section 5 provides firefighting measures. Section 6 covers accidental release measures, what to do if the chemical spills. Section 7 covers handling and storage. Section 8 identifies exposure controls and personal protective equipment you need to use. Section 9 provides physical and chemical properties. Section 10 covers stability and reactivity, whether the chemical can explode or react dangerously with other substances. Section 11 provides toxicological information, health effects from exposure. Section 12 covers ecological information. Section 13 covers disposal considerations. Section 14 covers transport information. Pay particular attention to Section 8, which tells you what personal protective equipment you need. Some chemicals require special gloves, respirators, goggles, or protective clothing beyond your standard PPE. If you will be using a chemical regularly, you must receive training on the specific hazards of that chemical and the protective measures you need to take. Do not assume that because you have used a similar product before, you know how to use this one safely. Different products have different formulations and different hazards. Common chemicals you may encounter on our job sites include solvents, paints, adhesives, sealants, cutting oils, degreasers, concrete additives, and fuels. Even common products like WD-40, diesel fuel, and spray paint have hazards and require proper handling. Some chemicals can react dangerously with each other. Never mix chemicals unless the SDS or product instructions specifically say it is safe to do so. Mixing incompatible chemicals can cause fires, explosions, or toxic gas releases. Store chemicals in their original containers with the labels intact. If you spill a chemical, follow the procedures in Section 6 of the SDS. Small spills of non-hazardous materials can usually be cleaned up with absorbent materials and disposed of properly. Larger spills or spills of highly hazardous materials may require evacuation and professional cleanup. Know the procedures before you start using the chemical. If you are exposed to a chemical through skin contact, inhalation, or ingestion, follow the first aid measures in Section 4 of the SDS and seek medical attention immediately. Bring the SDS or the product label with you to the medical facility so they know exactly what you were exposed to. Wear the appropriate PPE for the chemicals you are using. If a respirator is required, you must be fit tested, medically cleared, and trained on its use before you use it. If chemical-resistant gloves are required, make sure you are using the right type of glove for the chemical. Different chemicals require different glove materials. Wash your hands and any exposed skin after handling chemicals, even if you were wearing gloves. Do not eat, drink, or smoke while handling chemicals, or until you have washed thoroughly. Dispose of empty chemical containers and waste materials according to the SDS and local regulations. Do not pour chemicals down drains or onto the ground. If you have questions about a chemical or if you need an SDS, ask your supervisor. Your right to know is protected by law, and we are required to provide you with this information. Understanding chemical hazards and how to protect yourself is essential. Do not take chemicals lightly. Respect them, use them properly, and protect yourself and others. Powder-actuated tools, commonly called Hilti tools or powder guns, are used to drive fasteners into concrete, steel, and other hard materials. They use a gunpowder charge to propel a piston that drives the fastener. These tools are fast and effective, but they are also extremely dangerous if used improperly. They are essentially firearms, and they must be treated with the same level of respect and caution. No employee may use any powder-actuated tool unless they have had training on its safe operation. This is an OSHA requirement. Training must cover the specific model of tool you will use, the types of fasteners and loads, inspection procedures, safe operating procedures, and what to do if the tool malfunctions. You must demonstrate your competence before you're allowed to use the tool on the job. Before using a powder-actuated tool, inspect it carefully. Check that all parts are in good condition and that safety devices are functioning. Check the barrel for obstructions. Make sure you have the correct fasteners and powder loads for the material you are fastening into and for the tool you are using. Using the wrong combination can cause the fastener to penetrate completely through the material and become a projectile, or it can cause the tool to explode. Always wear appropriate PPE when using a powder-actuated tool. Safety glasses are required, but they are not enough. You must also wear a face shield. Employees using grinding discs or cutoff saws must wear both safety glasses and a face shield, and this same requirement applies to powder-actuated tools. Wear hearing protection. As these tools are extremely loud, wear gloves to protect your hands. Never load the tool until you are ready to use it. When you load the tool, always load the fastener first, then the powder load. Never load the powder load first, as this could cause an accidental discharge. Before you fire the tool, make sure no one is on the opposite side of the material you are fastening into. The fastener or fragments could penetrate through and strike someone. Make sure the work area is clear and that bystanders are at a safe distance. Place the tool firmly and squarely against the work surface. The tool must be held perpendicular to the surface. Do not angle it. The muzzle must be pressed fully against the surface to engage the safety mechanism. If the tool does not fire when you pull the trigger, it may be because the safety is not fully engaged, or because the tool is malfunctioning. If the tool does not fire, wait at least 30 seconds before removing it from the work surface. There may be a delayed ignition. After 30 seconds, remove the powder load according to the manufacturer's instructions and inspect the tool before attempting to use it again. Never attempt to drive a fastener into very hard or brittle material such as cast iron, glazed tile, surface-hardened steel, or glass block. The fastener can recocerate and become a projectile, or the material can shatter. Do not drive fasteners too close to an edge or corner. This can cause the material to spall or break, and the fastener may not hold. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for minimum edge distances. Do not drive fasteners into an area where there may be electrical wiring, gas lines, or other utilities behind the surface. You could penetrate a line and cause electrocution, fire, or explosion. At the end of your work, unload the tool completely. Remove the powder load first, then the fastener. Store the tool in its case and store powder loads in a secure, dry location away from heat. Powder-actuated tools must never be left unattended while loaded. Keep the tool under your control at all times. Do not use a powder-actuated tool in an explosive or flammable atmosphere. The spark from the powder load can ignite flammable vapors or dust. Only use powder loads and fasteners that are designed for the specific tool you are using. Using incorrect components can cause the tool to malfunction or explode. If the tool malfunctions or if you have any concerns about its safety, tag it out of service and report it to your supervisor immediately. Do not attempt to repair the tool yourself. Powder-actuated tools are powerful and efficient, but they are also one of the most dangerous hand tools on the job site. Treat them with extreme caution, follow all procedures, and never take shortcuts. Your life and the lives of those around you depend on it. Housekeeping might not sound like the most exciting topic in a safety orientation, but poor housekeeping is one of the leading causes of injuries on construction sites. Slips, trips, falls, struck by incidents, cuts, and fires are all directly linked to poor housekeeping. A clean, organized job site is a safer and more productive job site. Good housekeeping starts with everyone. It is not just the laborer's job or the cleanup crew's job. Every employee is responsible for keeping their work area clean and organized. As you work, clean up as you go. Don't wait until the end of the day or the end of the job to pick up scraps, debris, and tools. Keep walkways, stairways, and access routes clear at all times. Do not store materials, tools, or equipment in areas where people need to walk. Tripping hazards are one of the most common causes of injuries, and they are entirely preventable. Material storage must be orderly and stable. Stack materials neatly and securely. Do not create unstable piles that could fall over. Store materials away from edges of platforms, roofs, and scaffolding where they could fall and strike someone below. Secure materials against wind. Tools and equipment should be returned to their proper storage location when not in use. Do not leave tools lying around where they can be tripped over or where they can fall from elevation. Scrap metal, cutoffs, wire, banding, and other debris should be collected regularly and placed in designated scrap bins or dumpsters. Protruding nails and sharp edges should be removed or bent over. Steel banding is particularly dangerous. it can snap back and cause serious lacerations. Spills of oil, grease, water, or other liquids should be cleaned up immediately. Slippery surfaces cause falls. Use absorbent materials for oil and grease spills and dispose of them properly. Combustible debris such as wood scraps, cardboard, and packing materials should be removed from the work area regularly to reduce fire hazard. Do not allow these materials to accumulate near welding or cutting operations or near electrical panels. Electrical cords should be routed overhead or possible or secured to prevent tripping hazards. Damaged cords should be taken out of service immediately. Hoses, air lines, and welding leads should be coiled and stored properly when not in use. Do not leave them stretched across walkways. Dust and debris should be cleaned up regularly, especially in enclosed areas. Accumulated dust can be a fire or explosion hazard and can also create respiratory issues. At the end of each shift or task, take a few minutes to clean up your work area. Put tools away, collect debris, and leave the area safe for the next crew. Supervisors and foremen should conduct regular housekeeping inspections and address deficiencies immediately. Housekeeping should be a topic in toolbox talks and safety meetings. A clean job site is a safe job site. It shows professionalism and pride in your work. It protects you and everyone around you. Make housekeeping a habit, not an afterthought. Now let's talk about the rules that govern our work. All employees are required to follow all local, state, and federal safety regulations without exception. But our commitment to safety doesn't stop at meeting the legal minimum. You are also required to follow any additional safety requirements specific to your job site that are part of BSI policy, the general contractor's requirements, the construction manager's rules, or the owner's policies that go beyond local, state, and federal safety regulations. Lack of knowledge of safety regulations and safe procedures is never an excuse to violate those regulations or requirements. If you don't know, you need to find out before you act. When in doubt about safety, ask before you act. It's that simple. Proper information and training will be provided to you, but you need to speak up when you have questions. Here's something critical that empowers every single person on our work sites. Everyone has stop work authority. It doesn't matter if you started yesterday or you've been with us for 20 years. If you see something unsafe, you have the authority and the responsibility to stop work immediately. You will never be disciplined for stopping work to report and abate something you feel is unsafe. Before you can even begin work with Bennett Steel, you must meet our minimum pre-employment safety training requirements. These are non-negotiable. You must have completed OSHA 10 training within the last 5 years, or an OSHA 30 within the last 5 years. You must also have completed Subpart R training within the last 5 years. For those of you who will be working as riggers and signalmen, you must be qualified, with the exception of apprentices who may rig and signal only under the direct supervision of a qualified rigger or signalman. Let me address something that should go without saying but needs to be stated clearly. All employees are expected to arrive at work fit for duty. If for some reason you have an issue that you feel diminishes your ability to perform your work safely, whether that's illness, fatigue, medication side effects, or personal stress, you are expected to inform your supervisor immediately. We can't help you if we don't know there's a problem. Scissor lifts are another type of aerial work platform commonly used on our job sites. While they may seem simpler and safer than boom lifts because they only go straight up and down, they present their own unique hazards. Tip-overs, falls, electrocutions, and crushing injuries are all risks associated with scissor lifts. Just like with boom lifts, no employee may operate a scissor lift unless they have had training on its safe operation and are certified. Untrained employees may operate equipment under the direct supervision of a qualified operator for training purposes only. Before operating a scissor lift, perform a thorough pre-operation inspection. Check the structure, the platform, the guardrails, the controls, the hydraulic and electrical systems, the wheels or tracks, and the power source. Make sure all safety devices are functional. Check tire pressure if it's a tire-driven unit. If you find any defects, tag the equipment out of service and notify your supervisor. Set up the scissor lift on firm, level ground. Avoid soft soil, slopes, holes, debris, and uneven surfaces. Even though scissor lifts have a wider base than boom lifts, they can still tip over if the ground is unstable or sloped. Some scissor lifts have a tilt alarm that will sound if the platform is not level. Do not ignore this alarm. Lower the platform and relocate the lift to level ground. Before raising the platform, ensure the area is clear of personnel and obstacles. Be aware of overhead obstructions such as beams, ceilings, ductwork, and especially power lines. Maintain at least 10 feet of clearance from power lines rated up to 50 kilovolts. Electrocution is just as much a risk with scissor lifts as with boom lifts. Do not exceed the manufacturer's rated platform capacity, which includes the weight of personnel, tools, and materials. Overloading can cause structural failure or instability. Distribute weight evenly across the platform. When the platform is elevated, do not move the scissor lift unless it is specifically designed for that purpose and you have been trained to do so. Many scissor lifts are designed to be moved while elevated, but only on smooth, level, firm surfaces at slow speeds and with extreme caution. Know the limitations of the equipment you are using. Never drive an elevated scissor lift on slopes, ramps, or uneven ground. Fall protection requirements for scissor lifts have been the subject of much discussion. OSHA's position is that if the guardrail system on the scissor lift platform meets the requirements for a standard guardrail, 42 inches high with a midrail and toe board, then personal fall arrest is not required. However, BSI requires that you use fall protection when working in scissor lifts, especially when there is a risk of being ejected from the platform. Small self-retracting lifelines are to be used when employees are in or operating any aerial lift, including scissor lifts. Attach your SRL to the designated anchorage point on the platform. Never stand on the rails or toe boards of scissor lifts. We realize there may be times when the lift will not extend high enough to reach the work. In those circumstances, inform your supervisor, and alternate methods should be researched and used. If no alternate method is found, consult the safety department before continuing work. Failure to comply is an automatic one-day unpaid suspension. Do not use ladders, scaffolds, or other devices on the platform to gain additional height. This creates an extremely unstable and dangerous situation. Be aware of weather conditions. High winds can make the scissor lift unstable, especially when the platform is fully elevated. Know the wind speed limitations for your equipment, and do not operate in winds that exceed those limits. When operating the scissor lift, make smooth, controlled movements. Avoid sudden starts, stops, or turns. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Watch for pedestrians, other equipment, and obstacles. When you are finished working, lower the platform completely, turn off the power, engage the parking brake, and remove the key if you are leaving the lift unattended. Barricade the area around where scissor lifts are being operated with red rope and signage to prevent unauthorized entry. Instruct other trades to contact the responsible person before accessing the area. Scissor lifts are valuable tools that make elevated work safer and more efficient than using ladders. But they are not without hazards. Treat them with respect, follow all operating procedures, and never take shortcuts. Your safety depends on it. Spotters, also known as signal persons, play a critical and potentially life-saving role in crane operations, equipment movements, and other activities where the operator's view is obstructed. A good spotter can prevent accidents. A distracted or unqualified spotter can contribute to disaster. As we discussed in the crane section, only qualified signalmen may give signals to crane operators. Qualification means the person has been trained and evaluated on the proper use of hand signals, voice signals, and the specific requirements of the equipment being operated. Apprentices may signal under the direct supervision of a qualified signalman. The spotter must position themselves where they have a clear view of both the load and the operator. If direct line of sight is not possible, radio communication must be used, and even then, the spotter must be positioned to see the load and the path of travel clearly. The spotter must wear high-visibility clothing so the operator can see them easily. The spotter is the operator's eyes. The operator is relying on the spotter to tell them where to go, when to stop, and when there is danger. This is an enormous responsibility. The spotter must remain focused at all times. No distractions, no side conversations, no looking at your phone. Your attention must be on the load, the equipment, the operator, and the surrounding area. Hand signals must be clear and distinct. Use the standard signals outlined in OSHA regulations and the crane manufacturer's operating manual. Do not make up your own signals. If the operator does not understand your signal, or if there is any confusion, stop the operation and clarify. Radio communication must be clear and professional. Use simple, direct language. Confirm that the operator understands your instructions. If there is any doubt, stop and repeat. The spotter must watch for hazards that the operator cannot see. Pedestrians in the path of travel, overhead obstructions, ground hazards, proximity to power lines, and any other dangers. If a hazard is identified, the spotter must immediately signal the operator to stop. Anyone can give an emergency stop signal. If you see imminent danger, signal stop immediately, even if you are not the designated spotter. A raised arm or a loud shout can save a life. When equipment is being backed up or moved in reverse, a spotter is often required because the operator's visibility is limited. The spotter must stay in a position where the operator can see them and where the spotter can see the path of travel. Never position yourself where you could be crushed between the equipment and an object. The spotter must also be aware of their own safety. Stay clear of loads, suspended loads, moving equipment, and pinch points. Wear all required PPE, including hard hat, safety glasses, high visibility vest, and steel-toed boots if required. Communication between the operator and the spotter must be continuous. If the spotter needs to leave their position or if communication is lost, the operation must stop immediately. Being a spotter requires focus, training, and a strong sense of responsibility. You are not just helping, you are protecting lives. Take your role seriously every single time. We have covered a great deal of information in this orientation. Fall protection, aerial boom lifts, scissor lifts, forklifts, cranes, spotters, housekeeping, hazard communication, and Hilti powder actuated tools. Each of these topics represents a serious hazard that you will encounter on Bennett Steel job sites. Each requires your attention, your training, and your commitment to safety. This orientation is just a minimum amount of information provided to new employees so they may begin work safely. All regulations and policies should be read by you, the employee. If you have any questions or need any additional training, you need to inform your supervisor or the safety department immediately. Remember, safety is the top priority at Bennett Steel. We work together to eliminate accidents. Your productivity and craftsmanship depend on your safety and health. You must work as hard at accident prevention as you do at your craft. Safe work behavior is a required part of your job description. You are responsible for your safety and for the safety of those working around you. Bennett Steel wants each employee to leave the worksite each day injury-free. That is our goal, and we need your full commitment to achieve it. Thank you for your time and attention during this orientation. Welcome to Bennett Steel. Let's build safely, together.